for clarity. So nobody know where carnival money go.
The carnival that belongs to no one,
But thank God
we get it back,
thanks to Jonel and his crew.
we get it back,
5 years was long overdue.
we get it back,
That boy had missing a school.
we get it back,
The new committee got work to do. Because we mash up with you, babe. We mash up already. The street vendors them say
they pray for the dawn of a brand new day.
but thank God
We get it back,
Sugar Bowl and Banco say
we get it back,
glad that you fly flew away. I put me trust in God so I was never scared.
He won't give us more than we could bear.
Carnival needs an overhaul. It was maliciously destroyed. A wicked and a brutal act. They had to work like hell to build it back.
We calypso show,
Suffer the yellow blue,
a clock in front of we.
like if it's a pageantry. Semi-final free, and it's still empty.
We put calypso in Pocatelli,
But thank God
we get it back,
thanks to Jonel and his crew.
we get it back,
5 years was long overdue.
we get it back,
That boy had missing a school.
we get it back,
The new committee got work to do. Because we mash up with soca, we mash up with folklore. It's only Jesus Christ go.
why we carnival to suffer so.
But thank God
We get it back,
real right entertainment say
we get it back,
Party Central where you day. I put me trust in God so I was never scared.
He won't give us more than we could bear.
Was emotional. We carnival became national. We had chairman after chairman. Didn't know we would have had a crazy one.
So now that creep is gone,
Let us carry on.
carnival is me,
Carnival is all are we. So join in the revelry and build back the fantasy.
carnival is back in serious scary.
So thank God
We get it back,
thanks to Jonel and his crew.
we get it back,
5 years was long overdue.
we get it back,
That boy had missing a school.
we get it back,
The new committee got work to do. Because we mash up with free show, Miss Caribbean also. Even the school children know.
the chairman we had was a puppy show.
So thank God
We get it back,
man like Warren Ratcher see.
we get it back,
Still band players where you day. I put me trust in God so I was never scared.
He won't give us more than we could bear. We get it back,
And Stanchi
we get it back,
and Terry.
we get it back, we get back, we carnival. We get it back,
Saxy
we get it back,
and Number
get it back.
Saji,
We get it back.
and in nuts lady.
We get it back. We get back we carnival.
We get back our carnival. That's what the man said. It's the Ice House up doing this thing there. Well, we're gonna make our break right now, and we're just 5 minutes down after the hour of 11 o'clock, and bring you Frank and Candid. So you stick and stay right where you are. Make some commercials. When we come back, Frank and Candid time.
ZIZ Radio, entertaining the nation, enjoyed by the world.
At ZIZ, we want to take a moment to salute our small business owners and encourage you to support them. Our small business owners are always hard at work providing quality goods and services to you. They also provide employment for many and can be counted on to give back to our communities. Today and every day, we salute our small business owners and we say thank you for the opportunity to provide advertising services to you. If you're a small business, call us at 465-2621 to join our family of small business advertisers. Call us 465-2621. You'll be glad you did.
Catch Real Talk with real people on Frank and Candid with you, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Monday through Friday from 11 a.m.
It's Frank and Candid on ZIZ Radio.
Okay, a most pleasant Thursday morning to all and sundry. Welcome to Frank and Candid for today, Thursday, 19th November 2020. It gives me pleasure to again give thanks and praise to Almighty God for His mercies and love and care and compassion and all of that, all of those good things, so that we can still be here sharing with you. And of course I want to wish all the men, not males, but men, because there's a discussion now as to whether all males are automatically or axiomatically men. But all men, happy International Men's Day. I'm inviting the children, the females, and all other members of society to treat the men especially today. Give the men special treatment. Today, International Men's Day. We know that in March, around March 8th, it's International Women's Day. Well, today is International Men's Day, and of course we know tomorrow is International Children's Day. But we're celebrating today International Men's Day. I want to give you a few bits of information before I turn you over to my two guests, who are both men, here in the studio this morning. The theme for today, by the way, International Men's Day, is better health for males, men and boys. Better health for males. Of course, this lets us know that there is an interest, a concern, a focus on the health of men. You know, it is being said, and perhaps it has been well said, that men in general tend to take their health for granted or tend to be very risky with their behaviors. They do not visit the doctors half as often as their female counterparts, and that men seem to believe that they have an air of invincibility, which gives them a false sense of security, which means that they do not pay attention to signs and symptoms of poor health or ill health in time. And as a result, what happens? Men die on average 6 years younger than women. Women outlive men by an average of 6 years, sometimes much more. And that is a worldwide phenomenon. And perhaps this is why men tend to be, well, it seems contradictory that men tend to be older than women when they, for marriage purposes, which means that the man is going to die long before the woman, and the woman is going to be living as a widow long after the man has gone. As a widow, long after the man has gone. Perhaps it should be the other way around. 75% of suicides, ladies and gentlemen, occur among males, men. 75% of all cases of suicide involve men. And 95% of persons who die on the job are men. 95% of persons who die while at work are men. So today, International Men's Day, it's a good time to spend a few hours or more focusing on how to improve health of our boys so that when they become men, they can look forward to as great a life expectancy as the female of the species. Again, happy International Men's Day, and we hope that by the end of the day, all men would have enjoyed it in some way or other, would have learned something in one form or another, would have benefited from it in one way or another. Also to remind those persons who play the game Scrabble or are interested in playing the game Scrabble, men and women, boys or girls, there's a session at the Girls Guides headquarters on Taylor's Range today at 6 o'clock. We invite you to come and see how you can contribute or learn from, benefit from that exercise. Thank you very much. It's now my pleasure to turn you over to my two guests. They will introduce themselves, tell you their names, their positions, and what is it they want to discuss with us today. After they would have done that, we will open the lines for you to engage in the conversation and exchange ideas, information, ask questions, make comments, etc. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being a part of Frank and Candid today. Listen now to my guests.
Good morning. My name is Philip Brown. I am the Director of Industry and Commerce and the Small Business Development Center, SBDC, St. Kitts, in the Ministry of International Trade. I would want to do like my senior colleague here, my host, Mr. Blake, and wish all the men a happy Men's Day today, International Men's Day. And of course, it is significant that we are celebrating International Men's Day during this week, which is also Global Entrepreneurship Week. There are some implications which I would probably allude to a little later, but that's something to celebrate as well. And as we continue in the program, I'll have a little bit more to say on that.
Thank you.
Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Pierre Lyman. I'm the Director of Youth Empowerment, St. Kitts, in the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture. And like my older colleagues, older men, this morning I want to wish everybody and all the men listening and present Happy Men's Day. And it's also Youth Month, so all the young men, Happy Youth Month and Happy Men's Day. All the young men in business, since it's Global Entrepreneurship Week, Happy Youth Month, Happy Men's Day, Happy Global Entrepreneurship Week.
Well, this month seems to be loaded, as it were, with all kinds and all types of emphases and foci and celebration, because there are so many activities, so many disciplines, so many activities that have been celebrated this month of November. It's interesting, really. But we're glad to have you guys here, and you're free now to get into the meat of the matter.
Okay, well, as I would have indicated, this week we celebrate Global Entrepreneurship Week, GW. This celebration, in actual fact, is intended to highlight, to bring attention to, particularly youth in business, expose our young people to that business world. It's a celebration where we are drawing attention to the importance of entrepreneurship and youth entrepreneurship. And of course, like I said, it's a global celebration. So it would have started, the origins, the British Chamber of Commerce back in 2004 would have started something they refer to as UK Enterprise Week. Followed closely in 2007, the US and the Kaufman Foundation would have, well, the US had an entrepreneurship week, and then in 2008, Kaufman Foundation decided, it's time to put it all together, the US, the UK, and so the Global Entrepreneurship Week celebrations would have started back in 2008 at that point. Of course, since then, we've had over 180 countries participating in these celebrations. Over 20,000 partner organizations involved. Over 35,000 rather, events, and somewhere around 10 to 15 million individual participants. So it would have, of course, attracted persons and gained some attention and partners, etc. over the years. I would want to pause there so that I can allow our partners, our collaborating partners, and my brethren here, Mr. Liebert from the youth department. You realize a lot of focus would be on youth.
Yes.
To come in and make an input at this point.
Well, and again, as Mr. Brown would have alluded to, there's several individual entities around St. Kitts Nevis, the region, and the world that participate in Global Entrepreneurship Celebration. And again, to recognize entrepreneurship, young entrepreneurs, and to emphasize the importance of small business and young people and people in general, taking the plunge and identifying opportunities in the needs of the market and developing a business solution and start a business.
Let's get some definitions here, gentlemen. Youth. I'm heading for 3 score. Am I a youth? In other words, what is youth? We like to say youth is a matter of the mind. A man is as old as he thinks, and so on. So, for the purposes of your department, and perhaps for you as well, Mr. Philip, Mr. Brown, who or what constitutes or represents youth?
The Federal Youth Policy of St. Kitts and Nevis, 2017-2022, defines youth as any person between the ages of 12 to 29. Between the ages of 12 to 29. But it allows for us to engage with persons up to 35, especially around economic employment and entrepreneurship issues.
So 12 to 29. I have argued from this forum and from other fora that for me the epitome of youth are high schoolers. I'm sorry, teenagers. In my books. I'm not asking if anyone to agree with me. But in my books, that's the epitome of youth. After that, you become a young adult. Before that, you're a child. But for me, that is really, when God says He calls the young people because they are strong, I believe that those are the group, that's the cohort, that's the demographic to which He was referring. I am, of course, recognizing my utter fallibility in that area, but this is my position. Mr. Brown, sorry, yeah.
Youth encompasses a lot of different groups. Within that span, you have tweens, teenagers, you have adolescents, young adults as well. So you're not necessarily wrong, but the age group, the definition, it includes all of those.
Definitely, very much so, right? What about entrepreneurship, Mr. Brown? What on that? What is that? So that for the benefit of our listening audience who might wish to engage you more and follow more closely your position.
All right. Just that I can't avoid adding a little bit to the
of course,
controversy of youth. A man is as young, man or woman is as young as he or she feels. And I would want to suggest that a lot of us can still be considered youth.
Well,
right? However, let's get into the entrepreneurship part of it.
In lead up to the official adoption of the policy definition, there was some vigorous discussion.
Imagine.
Yes. But we decided to come more in line with international definitions of youth.
And I totally support that.
Okay.
However, the entrepreneurship part of it, and who is the entrepreneur? My colleague here would have alluded to it in much detail, because it's an individual who recognizes a need or gap. So you look around the community, you look around your area, and you see, boy, there's an opportunity for me to do some business. And
so who recognizes the need or gap in business?
In the business area.
Oh, okay.
You could supply some services or products or something, right? So you fill that need, And of course, that person is willing to take some risk. That's an integral part of the entrepreneurship thing, because entrepreneurship has risk in it, but you're trying to take a calculated risk at the same time. You're taking risks, but you're calculating it. So you're taking a risk to start up a business, hoping that you would supply, you would meet a need or demand in your community.
And fill it.
Right. And I don't think we could overemphasize the importance of a few things, key points that you mentioned. Identify a need, identify a gap, and start a business. Many of us are very capable of identifying needs, identifying flaws, identifying gaps, shortcomings, and so forth. But it is the entrepreneurial spirit is to view those as not just as challenges, gaps, deficits, but an opportunity. And that is important. That is very significant. Seeing the opportunity in the gap, in the need, and as Mr. Brown said, taking the plunge and taking the risk to address that need for a profit.
Okay, from your vantage points, Mr. Brown as Director of Industry and Commerce and small business development and so on, and as youth empowerment. What has been the general response of young people in the field of entrepreneurship? In other words, are we finding that a sufficiency of young people are gravitating towards that kind of operation, or are they still of the mindset that they prefer be employed? Because to be an entrepreneur, by and large, there is synthesis with self-employment. Entrepreneurship and self-employment have a close relationship, don't they? So to what extent have you found that young people, given your definition, in heading towards, have a proclivity for entrepreneurship?
I can't say that it's sufficient. I don't think that we would ever get to a point where it is sufficient.
Think so? All right. No problem.
There's always need for more. But I think that the interest and taking the leap has been growing. In my observation over the years that I've been involved in youth work and entrepreneurship, I've seen more and more people. Young people. Take the plunge. Take the opportunity to start their own business. And some of them leave school, never took on a traditional job and started their own business. Some would have gone the traditional route and started their own business. So they're taking it in different phases, different steps.
But from your limited experience, what has been the success rate? Because we've heard a lot about people starting and failing. Starting and not just stopping, but stopping because they're failing.
I can't say that I could give you an idea, a definitive answer as to what the statistics are. I'm not too sure that anybody could, because it's business registration and tracking. I don't think that they aggregate for youth as yet, at least.
Okay, well, we need that. That's a challenge then to whichever body is responsible for that.
Yeah.
But then the follow-up question would be, Mr. Brown, what would be some of the factors that predispose to people succeeding and, of course, not succeeding?
Well, let me start with the back end of that conversation you had with me just now. We have realized that data, statistics, is one of the weaknesses we have, and I don't think it is unique to us per se. However, that is one of the things that we at SBDC, St. Kitts Small Business Development Center, is actually a project that we're working on as we speak, because in terms of getting that kind of data or putting it together, it resides with several partners, entities, government agencies, and traditionally, and I can tell you that is changing a bit, because we're making a serious effort to make sure it is changed. But traditionally we've been accused as government entities of not speaking to each other.
Okay, that's a shame.
And so we are definitely working on that. So in short order, we hope that we'll be able to tell you, look, this is the number of entrepreneurs we have operating. These are the people who would have succeeded, this amount, that amount. We can give you that kind of status.
Yeah.
But in terms of the predisposition, we are aware that several businesses would have encountered difficulty and probably failed within their first 3 to 5 years.
And that's okay.
And of course, it's okay to lose, just don't lose the lesson. And so the Small Business Development Center, St. Kitts, is that agency we are entrepreneurial in some respects. We feel that need. We realize that there needs to be support. We are a business support organization, and so our real role is to assist in providing that hand-holding, supportive type thing where we can take you from the idea to a successful business. And you know, one of our strengths, of course, being in a network like the Small Business Development Center networks, because it's an international network as well. We can, of course, reach out to our partners worldwide to enlist their support in how we provide the technical assistance and support on the ground to our entrepreneurs. So there is some scope, some hope, and some development in that area.
Okay. If I could just take back a little bit, because there were some nuances to your question that I don't think we got to hit on. In terms of propensity for our young people to go into business, their confidence to start a business. Traditionally, it has been, we grew up hearing, go to school, learn your education, to find a good job, be a lawyer, doctor, work in government, be a police officer, things like that. So-called good job. So what? And that implies that you go and work for somebody. Right. And we haven't sufficiently, traditionally, been encouraging of people taking risk. We've been a bit risk averse, especially when it comes to investing and monies and so forth. And I think over the years, with the work that we and other partners would have been doing, and young people themselves, taking up the challenge and seeing opportunities and being confident in their own ability to start a business and offer a successful service, I think it's been growing, it's been changing. Attitudes have been changing. And if you look at social media, all of the different types and of businesses and services being offered, and many of them by young people, you would be amazed and impressed with where we've gotten so far.
Okay, well, I'm glad that Mr. Brown has acknowledged that there's a weakness in terms of data gathering, because certainly one's decisions should be data-driven, grounded in statistics. And they say that once you recognize the problem, you're halfway there to its solution. All right? Now, if young people, and I'm glad you mentioned the point that it is okay to fail, quote unquote. In other words, one does not set out to fail, but nothing is wrong with failing, because failure is a step to success. Because you learn from the errors that conduced to failure, and of course then you avoid them. Matter of fact, it would be interesting for young people to study the history of Abraham Lincoln, for example, who ended up becoming not just a president of the United States, but one of the most revered. Whenever one lists the most successful, the most popular president, he's numbered among them. But the number of instances in which that man failed on his journey to the White House would really, it's a classic tale of perseverance, of stick-to-itiveness, of never giving up. All right, and that reminds me as well of Churchill, when he was Winston Churchill, when he was asked to address a number of students after the war to come and make a speech, and he got up and said 9 words: never give up, never give up, never give up. Then he sat down. Sorry. And that was after the students had been seated and waiting with pens and papers ready for some massive long speech. But the words, the message contained in those 3 words, never give up. I guess Churchill was aware of what Lincoln had been through. So, young people, you're hearing it from these esteemed gentlemen, it is okay to encounter serious challenges, especially because you have youth on your side. Nothing is wrong with not succeeding at first. What do we say? If at first you don't succeed, try and try and try. And matter of fact, I would like anyone to point me to any successful individual who encountered and achieved success on his first try. I would like anyone to, whether it be in politics, in business, in education, in the military, point me to any individual who, as soon as he started out, encountered nothing, met no problems, no challenges, pure success unmitigated success. I doubt there's any in the history, the annals of our human civilization. I wanted to ask the question though, what is the gender breakdown in terms of persons, young people in particular, getting involved in entrepreneurship? Is there a lean? Do we find that more of a particular gender or sex is involved, or is it?
Not necessarily. No, not necessarily.
Okay.
But I guess in recent times we've seen more young ladies
More females.
come out and show themselves. But I don't think that I think it's fairly even, because the businesses come in all shapes, sizes, and types, and some require you to, be public in different ways, while others, you're not going to always see them in the same light. You're not going to always see them in the same quantity. So those that exist might not be as visible to those that don't necessarily use their services.
I see.
So yes, I think it's fairly even.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Pace correct. From our standpoint at the SBDC, we have in excess of 800 entrepreneurs.
800?
Enterprises that would have come through us for assistance and so on, registered and so on, and getting support.
Would those include vendors, sidewalk vendors?
Some of them, yes.
Okay, right.
And in fact, it would have been a myth, yes. The myth suggested that the females are, predominant.
Yeah.
But when we go to the records and we actually check it, it's about balance.
Really?
It's about even. So we are not seeing anybody with any gender, with any runaway lead or anything like that. But with regards to the efforts and the number of times and so on, it's interesting that you alluded to that story with was it Abraham Lincoln? I don't know who this war story is attributed to, but there was a story one time of a youngster who looked at his father going into the business after business and failing business after business. And one day the youngster said to his dad, "Dad, look, you failed so many times. You've almost done it 100 times. Where are you going again?" And he looked at his son and he said, "Look, son, I know of 99 different ways of how not to do it."
Okay.
So he got the lesson.
So it's not a failure. It's a success in learning.
It's a learning curve.
Yeah, it's a learning moment.
It's a learning curve,
Yeah, definitely.
right?
Yeah.
But and interestingly too, as you spoke to that, there's always this big debate question: entrepreneurs born, are they made? And again, we come back to the fact that you see males coming through, you see females coming through, you see the youth coming through, and I wouldn't attempt to give an answer to that question, but it's a debate.
Me neither.
The lines are open, ladies and gentlemen. You can call us on Frank and Candid. You know the numbers, 465-2555, and engage my guests here with in conversation. What I'd like to know, gentlemen, particularly Mr. Brown, what structures are in place to encourage and sustain entrepreneurship generally?
The SBDC would have been that was NED before, the National Entrepreneurial Development Division,
Right.
and basically government would have seen the need, like I said. So that in itself is the support organization, so that entrepreneurs can understand, look, I can jump into this thing. I'm not alone. Here's a whole support system, an ecosystem as we refer to it these days, where we have various stakeholders and partners who can provide you with the type of support you need. So when persons are looking at going into a business, starting a little enterprise, it is not that you're just closing your eyes and taking a risk. Like we said, we want to make it a calculated risk. We want to make sure that you have support. You are not in it alone, and it means then that you can come to the Small Business Development Center.
So folks get assistance with business plans. How to write a business plan?
We assist you with business plans.
Startup capital.
We don't do any financing at all, but your business plan, can in fact take you to the source of the capital, the startup capital, because really and truly, you don't go to a financial institution and just tell them, I have a good idea. They'll ask you to show me.
Of course.
How,
Yeah.
and so you need that kind of documentation in order to convince any financial institution.
Let's take this first caller. Hello, caller.
Good morning, Mr. Bray.
Good morning, sir. Welcome to Frank and Candid.
And I want to thank you and the Men Council for a wonderful speech last night.
Okay.
I'm going to be a little bit off of the program. I want to say this. You know, I'm happy for the guys that turned up last night and the ladies. But I want to say this, that I'm going to call a little names who I believe should have been there. People like Carl Brown, Mr. Politics, Eli X, the busmen them who always making a lot of stupid noise and you can't understand what they're saying. I think they should have been there. The people, the guys who would be up by Royal Bank area, who always got all kind of speeches.
The Circus University.
I would have liked them to be there. And I would have liked my partner, Licky, to be there, and he bring his partner, Tango, with him.
Right.
Because, you see, it was a wonderful program,
Right.
and I learned a lot. Okay?
Very well.
And these guys who always on the ear and always believe that they know everything, they should have been there to hear what the doctor had to say, because it was a wonderful program about
COVID.
COVID.
Yes.
And even those two and Rascal should have been there too. And I disappointed in the men. I talk in my mind. I disappointed with men because we love to congregate, but the talks we have is talks like woman, ganja, alcohol, and these things. And when you try to come in with something constructive about world affairs, you see them walking away one by one. And when you continue to it, they say, oh, you like to talk. But I noticed something in this country that, I don't run my own survey, and I find out that the women love to be educated. They love to be educated. The women, the men don't. And I see in the long run that the women going to be lawyers, they don't start, doctors, judges, bankers, politicians, everything.
Yeah, they've taken over the
gonna be
teaching profession a
women,
long time.
because the men them are dropping back. I don't run my own survey, and I don't finish now. I just find out. I don't run my own survey with the college students and the 6th, the 5th farmers and the 4th farmers, and I find out that the women them they got some excellent time, because I asked them what you will like to do when you leave school, and the things the women do say. Well, you say, boy, the future is woman. But the men them, the college guys them, they're scratching their head. I just say, boy, you're in college, you should have don't know what you want to do. You're in 5th form, you don't know what you want to do. You're in 4th form, you don't know what you want to do. Okay. And all like manners should have deal. These guys who could spread
Information.
things around.
Yes.
But to see, it's only 10 men were there and 3 women. And I know, if you all this say woman come, you'd have got more woman than what men.
Okay.
And, a surprise to see it was for men and to educate men, and it was a wonderful program.
Okay.
And none in turn up.
Yeah, that's the shame.
All
right.
We disappointing we own self. And
Right,
one thing before I go, I heard something there last night that somebody bring up a thought that saying that is some of the most educated people. And I made to understand that it is down the center. You got bright one, and you got dull one. And it's right down in the center. And I asked the men them, please to pull up themselves.
Okay.
Please to pull up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, and I'm happy that you came last night and that you learned something from it. And perhaps the young men should begin to think about becoming entrepreneurs. Since a lot of them, as you said, don't seem to know what they want to do, they should follow the advice that is being given here by my 2 guests. We have another caller? Okay. All right, but he's right to the extent that we expected far more men. We thought we properly advertised it, and a lot of men did not turn up. And so we are hoping that young men will get the message that there is room for growth and personal development and upward mobility and so on in entrepreneurship. That it is not set in stone, inevitable that they become employees, that they could actually employ themselves. Because we were hearing from Mr. Brown before he was interrupted by the call that there is advice, there is support, there is assistance that can be obtained. Carry on, Mr. Philip, Mr. Brown, and we invite further calls, of course, in relation to what we're discussing now.
Yeah, absolutely. You did ask me, you were leading me a bit. You asked a leading question about the business plan proposals and so on.
Yes.
Writing. And that is one of the services that we offer at the SBDC. But I am always mindful to tell entrepreneurs and tell our small business people who aspire to start some enterprise, that we would never write your business plan for you.
Okay,
We
that's
write
important
it
to emphasize.
with you.
Right.
Because we want you to be engaged in that process, knowing what's in your business plan, so that you can execute. Now, we've also formed an alliance with one of the financial institutions, more than one, but it's we advanced with one. We, you are going to seek some assistance, financing for business, and they would send you across to us for a little training, and we do a lot of that. We do a lot of the support by way of training.
Free of cost?
Free of cost.
Okay.
It's a government-supported program up to this point, and so I want to encourage people to come and get it now.
Okay.
Before that changes.
So before we run out of time, which tends to happen very quickly, tell the audience how and where they could access this training and information and so on.
All right. Now, we are physically located. SBDC St. Kitts. You can find us in the Nagico building. That's up at Bladen, just below the credit union.
Right.
Right. And the credit union is one of our major partners.
Okay.
Yeah?
I think there's a ministry.
It's the Ministry of Trade.
Ministry of Trade.
So we are found within the Ministry of
Right.
Trade. And so we are the business support arm of the government, which is in the Ministry of Trade.
And that's where you personally are located.
That's where we are.
Right.
However, COVID has also taught us that we need to do a lot of things online. We need to use various platforms and so on. And so we do have a Facebook page.
Okay.
And it is www.facebook.com SBDCSKB. And that's all capitals, SBDCSKB.
Okay, all caps. That's important to know.
All caps.
Okay, because it's case sensitive, I suppose. SBDCSKB. SBDC SKB.
And our email, we are sbdc@gov.kn. Now, these are lowercase.
Right.
sbdc@gov.kn. What we were able to do, while lots of us would have been asked to stay at home and so on, we were able to field our various requests from the entrepreneurs and so on, and provide support by way of using the emails, the electronic platforms and so on. And the records would reflect that during that peak time, let's say we're talking about March, April, May, the activity, the calls, people engaging, did not get any significant drop.
Right. Did not cease, as it
Right.
were.
So we were able to sustain, as it were, that level of support and momentum for entrepreneurs.
Now, does one, coming to you, Pierre, but does one have to make an appointment to come to the SBDC, or he can just walk in?
We have an open door policy.
So you'll entertain him?
We'll entertain
as much as
possible.
Right.
Maybe there are times when we would have begun the engagement. It might be important to know schedule you for follow up and certain things. But it's an open door policy, and we have several officers. We are, of course, it's a work in progress. We are training all our officers to become business advisors. That's where we're
and of course there's an air of confidentiality in all of this, naturally, I presume.
It is. I don't even know if confidentiality addresses it properly, but it's locked down.
Secrecy, almost.
It's locked down.
Classified.
Your ideas, what you discuss with us, that's where it stays. You alone have it. we as a matter of fact, I would tell people sometimes, I see so many people sometimes, and somebody called me on the phone and said, remember you were doing? I don't remember. Because I'm dealing with you. You're before me, you're a matter, but it doesn't stick in my head for me to communicate it somewhere else tomorrow.
But I'm glad you mentioned, you emphasize that the business plan must be written, must be the creature of the individual. You will not write it for the individual, but certainly you'll guide him to ensure that it is well constructed and properly done and so on. That is very important, because people come to me for assistance in things literary, and I have to tell them, don't expect me to do it, I'll assist you after it is done. But don't expect me to do it for you. Pierre, before we come to you, we're going to take this call. Hello, caller.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Blake, and your guest.
Yes, sir.
Good morning.
All right, well, Hunks and myself, we were planning to come, but then we see rain and our transporting on a roof. You know, we stand.
Right.
But anyway, I called to give my admiration to the first caller, the gentleman. I don't know him, but I know his voice, and he's always constructive.
Yes.
And he shows that he is what you call CAS, country above self.
Okay.
So I'm glad that he went last night and he learned a lot.
Definitely.
And I know if you had 4 more sessions last night, he would have been to it. Now, a little thing there about one little sidetrack. How did the grammar school ground come up, the project to cut down the bush?
We haven't started yet. I have not received the requisite permission from, as I said before, I don't want to name the individual, but I must get permission from a particular individual.
Yeah.
And that individual is refusing for us to rendezvous. So that,
man, that ain't supposed to be.
That's not supposed to be, but that's the case. Okay.
This is what you call country above self.
Right, but
the place need cleaning up.
There are people who are ready to go, set to go. People with their tools and ladies with their drinks and so on, ready to support the men.
What the individual thing happen? Are you going to go fight with machete?
I don't know if that's the idea, that's the thought, but I know the machete will be fighting with the plants. Oh yeah.
And if that individual know that grass, not because it's not water, there are sheltering places for mosquito.
Yeah, lots of issues. I mean,
yeah.
You know.
Well, something else now.
Yes.
There are I think it's 2 or 3 tractors up Needmus that they call harvesters used to cut the cane. One of them tractors, they could go up there in couple minutes and cut down the whole grammar school football cricket field.
Okay.
And it would cut the bush them as low as a lawnmower. Because that is what they used to use in the cane field, in certain flat cane field, to cut the cane.
Okay.
Cut them and they just throw them in the tractor there like that. And when you look at the grass, at the track, the trash in the cane field, it look like a lawnmower just don't cut.
Yeah, right. we hope to get, I hope that the problem is resolved sooner than later. I really thought by now we would have already done it, but we can't just go in like that. The gate is locked in the first place.
Right,
so
right. I could understand that.
Yeah.
But nobody should prohibit people from cleaning up the place.
Yeah.
I don't care what you have. You ain't supposed to go through nothing. To go and clean up the place, to keep the place clean and tidy.
Exactly.
That's my point. But anyway, congratulations to the guy who called. I like him. He's always positive.
Very well.
You all have a good day.
Thank you very much. Okay, we have another caller? Okay, carry on, Pierre.
Well, in addition to what Mr. Brown, the services that Mr. Brown offers at SBDC, at the Department of Youth Empowerment, we are a bit a step before in encouraging young people to see opportunities in small business and starting their own business. And we introduce them to the idea of entrepreneurship through theory, advocacy, and practical exercises. Through our summer camps for the younger ones and entrepreneurship training for the older ones that we do partner with SBDC in delivering. So we actually get them to form groups, come up with challenges, formulate a business idea, put together a plan, budget, get their structure in place, apply for a small loan, so they get the full experience. And so they implement their business, they come back and assess their activities, their success, and decide whether or not they need to adjust, and they go out another time and execute. So we prepare their mindset, encourage them, and provide practical training. And since we've seen a lot of young people come through that process and start their own businesses.
Philip, during your training, do you have individuals whose record is one of success and achievement as entrepreneurs share their stories, their best practices and so on with the trainees? And I'm sure you have a list of persons in St. Kitts and Nevis who have succeeded. By whatever yardstick you want to measure success, they have attained. And I'm saying that they could be very well be used as role models for the up and coming.
Absolutely. Those persons, to avoid the controversy about role models, we use those persons as resource persons.
Resource persons.
Heavily, right? And so, no, but there are always features in whatever we're doing, training, etc. And because it's good to see. I mean, we speak to the late Kishu and all. I mean, you watch stories, you see how people would have started from a particular point and developed and so on. So that is what we do, because it's easier for our persons, our young people, to look around and see who we're talking about and what we're talking about.
Because just say, for example, I had a long conversation with the venerable Alfonso Barker, Al Barker, and his record is one of storied one of upward, onward, forward movement of success, if you wish. And although he's heading for his 9th decade, right? He's still in very good shape mentally and physically to some extent, and he's willing, wherever possible, as long as his health allows and time allows, to give advice and support to youngsters who want to start their own businesses. Because we used to say for years that Barker and Kelly was about the if not the only, the major example of a successful partnership, local partnership, involving people of my color. Boy, I feel so good when I think about that.
Well, if I were to just jump in, I would want to thank Mr. Barker.
Here and now.
Let me start there. Here and now, for the support and the assistance that he would have provided to us before SPC.
Okay, we have a caller here? Okay, let's take this caller. Sorry to interrupt you there.
Sure.
Hello, caller.
Yeah, good morning, Brother Blake.
Morning, sir.
And good morning to the gentleman there.
Gentlemen.
Who's speaking about entrepreneur.
Good morning.
What I believe that, sir, that young people in the Federation, especially men, we got to get real. And if you start a business, and you see a business in doing
too well,
you're supposed to do it, you know, you got to get a little patience, you got to get a little faith.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, some of them start a little business when you look, because nobody come by, they want to turn $1 million here one time. That cannot work. You understand? I see different people coming in the country and trying to open their own business. And sometimes nobody there, sometimes nobody run the establishment, the business. Nobody, sometimes only their own people them. And soon and very soon, you see the business that start to spread out. Because they got patience, they got faith. Look at the guy and the boy, the place, the boy, best boy, by Buckley's, the Jamaican guy. When I used to pass going to work at night time, I want to know how much patience he had. And right now, when I pass in from work, I'm going in town, I'm going anywhere. Round the full of people, a lot of people round the grill, round the food place, because he had patience. And he know that thing gonna get you. But you see, our people, they want plenty money in their hand one time, and it wouldn't work like that. That's why I see that we people just fail. That's why we got to get patient, and without patience, nothing can do. All right then.
Thank you. Okay, good advice. All right, youngsters, don't expect success overnight. We like to use the old stale cliche: success comes before work only in the dictionary. But in a very real sense, you cannot expect to reap benefits in quick time. It takes time, it takes strategy, it takes patience. So that's good advice coming from Mr. Politics. Gentlemen, we are coming close to the end of our allotted time, so you can make some final, if you wish, for a minute or two, each of you.
Okay, well, I'll just finish the point with Mr. Barker. He was one of our earliest resource persons.
Very well.
He did a lot of stuff with us. We always called him in and so on. And in a previous life, I would have done that with him before. So he's one of those guys.
Yeah. I'm encouraging him to do a biography.
Yes, that would be critical. Well, here's the thing, the last caller just
Politics,
went
Mr.
back,
Politics.
Mr. Politics, went back to something that you said earlier, and I don't think it was recognized. There's a word we coin. We call it stick-to-itiveness.
Yes.
Stick to it. Now, that's actually one of the traits of an entrepreneur. Anybody who would do entrepreneurial studies, etc., you would come across a number of the definition and the traits of an entrepreneur, and that is one of them. Stick to it, perseverance, research, hungry for knowledge. You know, so the entrepreneur, whether he or she is born or made, there are certain characteristics, certain traits that would define that person. And would ultimately lead to their success.
Very well. Okay. Sulaiman?
2 points. Success doesn't necessarily happen overnight, I agree. And I want to emphasize that also, you might not even experience the breakout success yourself, but that doesn't mean that you can't experience success through your children. I encourage persons involved in business, get your children involved. And even if they don't carry on the business itself as you see it, they could carry on the knowledge, the experience, that it would take for them to be successful in their own business.
Right.
So we could look at it that way. Don't think of just you succeeding, but it also is intergenerational as well.
Right. Trickles down.
Right. And young people, think about business opportunities, press ahead despite the negative energies, negative comments that you might hear, even though they might come from parents or teachers. Disregard it. And I encourage parents and teachers and the community to support and encourage our young people to take the plunge and start their own businesses. And when they do, support them as much as we can.
Mr. Laban, where are you located? How can folks contact you as the Director of Youth?
Top floor cable building.
Top floor of the cable building?
Youth@gov.km, SKBYouth, DEPT at Hotmail.
Do that one more slowly.
Youth@gov.km.
I'm going to repeat this tomorrow.
SKBYouth, DEPT at Hotmail.com. 662-6054.
Okay, fine. I want to encourage the audience to make it a point of duty to visit Philip Brown's office at the Nagico building.
SBDC.
Right? The SBDC, Small Business Development Center. All right? He's willing to entertain you. He's welcoming you. And we would certainly love to see far more of our young people in particular, but of any age, getting involved in setting up their own businesses, be it small, medium, or otherwise. So thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming. And I expect to see some positive results flowing from this interview. And feel free to return whenever you wish. We can continue the conversation, the discussion at your convenience, at your whim and pleasure. Thank you very much for being here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for being a part of Frank and Candid today. Until we meet again, do the right thing.
Thank you.